We have a very special guest on Recruitment Unfiltered today. So we've got our very own Rachel.
Hello.
So welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited.
So maybe let's start by you telling us how and why you decided to join Unfiltered. Give us the story.
It's quite a cute story, to be fair. I was your first candidate to reach out to you.
Yeah, before I even launched, I was just posting a little bit here and there about Dubai, and then Rachel decided to drop me a message and say that her and her boyfriend are moving here.
Yes.
So we had a little
seen
call.
all the pictures, and I was like, I need to get myself over there. I'd kind of like, it was pretty much time for me to start looking, and I knew like January time, February time, I wanted to come. So I was like, I'm just gonna have a conversation and just see what's out there. And reached out to you, and you were like, yeah, let's hop on a call. I was going away that weekend. I looked at the messages like the other day, and I was going away, and I was like, oh my God, like I have a call about Dubai. And I was telling everyone I had a call about Dubai on Monday, and everyone was just like, okay, let me know how it goes. And I cried.
Yes, I made Rachel cry. She only told me this like 6 months in after.
I only told you a few weeks ago because I was terrified.
Terrified of what?
I was just like, oh, I don't want you to feel bad that you made me cry. But it was just a very real conversation. And like the minute I finished the call, I was just kind of like overwhelmed with everything, like all of the information that was told. I think it was like a case of, I did finance recruitment, obviously back in Dublin. And you were like, there's no finance recruitment in Dubai.
There's a little bit.
There's a little bit, but there's not a whole lot. And you were kind of saying to me, like, it's going to be difficult to find a job. Like, you need to basically, you know, knuckle down and like not expect too much. You might get like 1-2 interviews out of like 12 applications. And I just got off the call and I was like, oh my God, I'm never going to Dubai. I'm never going to get to Dubai. I'm never going to get to Dubai.
Yeah, it's the accounting and finance. If you don't want to join like the big firms,
which I didn't,
because you've worked for one of them, it gets really tough when you've got that experience. Unfortunately for candidates, but luckily we've picked up a few more clients in that space since you know, businesses have moved over and opened, so it's a lot easier now. It's a lot better. Still not great, sorry guys,
still not amazing, probably still wouldn't get a job now, but
well, so obviously a bit of a psychopath move from you to join a business. We checked the dates when we were kind of planning the podcast, and it turns out you accepted the offer in writing 6 weeks into me running Unfiltered, which is actually insane. So
it is
tell
crazy.
us why.
I don't know. No, I do know. I had done a lot of interviews. I was chatting to a lot of businesses. I actually got another offer that day before you called me. Obviously, I'd been talking to you as my rec to rec and my boyfriend as his rec to rec too. So we knew you, we knew what you were about. We knew how you did your business, how you spoke to candidates. Yes, you made me cry, but I was like, you know what? I am the type of person that just appreciates the honesty, because a lot of rec to recs will sell you the dream and say like, yeah, I'll get you a job. Yeah, I'll get you this salary. Yeah, I'll get you that. And then it never transpires, or you get here and you realize it's the complete opposite.
The amount of candidates we speak to who speak to a rec to rec that's based not in Dubai, and they're told,
that was me, by the way,
you're gonna get X salary. Oh yeah, it's so easy in Dubai. Like, you're gonna get your flight paid for, and this paid for, and that paid for, and they pay for your accommodation. And then when you start looking for a job, it's really, really hard. Like, most of our candidates end up with one offer if they're lucky. A lot of the time,
even
it's
if
very
they're amazing,
hard. Even if they're amazing, a lot of the time it's very, very hard to find a job here. It's very competitive. So I mean, I hope I didn't make anyone else cry. I probably did.
But I do think it's really important to be honest. And that's what I loved about you. And that's when I literally had just gotten an offer from a company that was a little bit more established, had backing from like a big corporation out here, but was only very new in like recruitment business. And then you were obviously only 6 weeks in. And I got the 2 offers within half an hour. You had messaged me saying, I really need to speak to you. And I was just like, okay, calm down. And I think you told my boyfriend before. So he had messaged me being like, be prepared. And I was like, what? And then you called me and I was just like, oh my God, these are like 2 completely different offers. It was for 2 different desks. I was coming from finance. I had an offer for HR and I had an offer for rec to rec. And I was like, this is so wildly different from anything that I've done. And I went down to my dad, who was working from home at the time. And I was like, I've gotten an offer. And he was just like, I think you should go with Martina. And I was just kind of like, that is risky because she's 6 weeks into a business. So if it doesn't work and I'm in Dubai and I'm relying on you for a visa or, you know, healthcare and like a salary at the end of the day, what happens if it goes wrong? But to be fair, I had told you that on the phone and I was like, this is a risk. And you were like, if it goes wrong, I will get you a job. Yeah. I was like, okay, amazing.
Yeah, like it'll be easier, like for any recruiter kind of getting an offer that maybe they're not, obviously that's not the case with you, but maybe they're not excited with. Maybe it's the salary, maybe it's the industry or whatever it is that you're not fully excited with. It's much easier to just get here a job if it doesn't work, because a lot of the time it does work. Sometimes, you know, your initial salary might be a bit lower, but like you get a pay rise after 3 months because you're doing really well. Like if you're a good recruiter, you need to back yourself a little bit. Yeah. And if it doesn't work, once you have that local experience, it's a lot easier to find a job. But so tell us why you decided to move to Dubai. Why not Australia? Why not anywhere else?
I genuinely wish I could pinpoint where I just decided I was going to move to Dubai, but it was 3 years ago. I just started my first recruitment job. Pretty sure in the interviews and like the whole package and everything, they kind of sold you that like we're an international agency, like you can go anywhere in the world with us if you're doing well, we can get you a desk anywhere in the world. And I was like, of course, going through their website like, oh, I wonder where they are, and came across Dubai. And I think at the time I had obviously seen Dubai from like influencers. Like I'd seen the influencer side of Dubai with people coming on holidays here. Like I was watching YouTube videos of like, come fly to Dubai with me, and like it was just always this place that like looked like it was so without or like out of my reach, if that made sense. Yeah. Because it looked like New York or it looked like some crazy place, whereas Australia is kind of chilled like Ireland is. So like Dubai was just always this crazy place that looked like it was so far out of my reach. But I was like, you know what, I'm gonna work towards going to Dubai. Like Dubai looks amazing. Granted, it's so different to what I thought of Dubai back then. Like 3 years ago, I thought Dubai was supercars everywhere. Like you earned ridiculous amounts of money. You had like not like designer stuff. Like everything was just like this big kind of posh dream over here. Whereas it's not like that. And I'm quite glad that it's not like that, to be quite honest, because I'm not the type of personality that actually would suit that sort of lifestyle anyway.
Care for it. So so obviously you've been here for 9 months. You've not been to Dubai before moving here. No. So what would you say to people who want to move here without even having visited?
You know what? I think just go for it. Like that's my biggest advice. I'd never been outside of Europe, so I'd never seen a place like Dubai. I'd never seen high-rise buildings. Like this was just when we landed and we were driving to our hotel or Airbnb, we were just looking around like, this is imposter syndrome. And I still feel like that 9 months later. I'm still like, this is crazy life that I live now.
I know.
Compared to at home.
I remember when we went to Nobu in Atlantis for our little May incentive, and you were like, imposter syndrome. You like pulled up in your new car as well.
I was a fangirl. I was like, how am I thought I was in the Kardashians. I was like, I'm practically famous, the fact that I'm here.
There was like these influencers there everywhere. We were just like sat there chilling, having a little cocktail. It was so nice. But I just remember that day when you like pulled up, you got your new car in the morning, pulled up to Atlantis, you were like, Martina, what is this place? I was like,
I had arrived before you, and I was messaging you being like, no, I literally can't believe I'm sitting here, like this is crazy. So I would say just go for it. I'd never been to Dubai before. We were gonna come and do a holiday, but I just thought, what's the point in spending loads of money to come on a holiday? Like, just do it. Like, we can always go home. Yeah. You can always quit your job. You can always go back home if it doesn't work. But just do it is my biggest piece of advice. And do it and get straight into your routine. Yeah. I think that's one thing that I like. Anyone that asks me whether, you know, will I come to Dubai? Like, am I going to move to Dubai? I'm like, don't give yourself a holiday when you move here. I knew nothing. I hadn't seen the Burj until I'd lived here for 3 months.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's really bad. No, that is really bad, I will admit. But we just got straight into a routine. We didn't give ourselves, you know, a month to like party and all of this and like blow our savings. We were like, no, we gave ourselves 5 days. I met you in them 5 days because I was like, I'm terrified. You were so intimidating back then. Come on. But we'd met you, we'd met friends, people that we knew here. We tried to make friends, and that we just gave ourselves the 5 days to do that. And then we were like, okay, down to a routine. And like, you need that straight away, because working here in recruitment compared to the UK and Ireland is a lot harder.
Yeah.
It's a lot tougher. You need to work really hard. It's longer days. It's, you know, it's just tougher in general, to be honest. And the fact that you're up early, I know the sun and everything all the time, but the lifestyle over here is go, go, go.
Yeah.
Like you don't get a break. You don't get a chance to sit down. Whereas I used to go home from work and just sit in front of the TV for the rest of the night. I'm like, you don't do that now.
I think it's because we have to drive everywhere. So it's not like...
You're just out and about all the time.
You're just out and about. Like, you want to go somewhere, you're going to go to the mall. Yeah, it's a 5-10 minute drive. But equally, it's like 10-15 kilometers. So, like, you're just constantly in and out of your car. And I feel like it takes out of you. Like, you have to park. You have to, like, plan for it. Where am I going to park?
You're so tired when you shop over here.
Oh, my God. It's awful. Shopping here is actually terrible.
It is, because it's a whole ordeal. You have to park. You have to walk the whole way through the mall. You have to take directions of where you parked your car.
Take pictures.
Yeah, literally. And then by the time you're finished, you're like, okay, I'm done.
Cool. So what's your favorite thing about living here then? Apart from your job?
Favorite? I honestly don't think I have any negatives. Everything's a favorite. I think as well, because I came from, anyone that's come from like living with their parents, like living separately to my boyfriend, we both lived with our parents back home, and then you move over here and it's just like, I've now just created my life, like the life that I want to live. I have a cat. I have a brand new furnished apartment. I have, you know, I'm in a long-term relationship. I've got loads of friends now. Work is great. Like, I've just been able to create the life that I want to live over here. So I don't really think that it's anything like Dubai related. Like, I can't say like, oh, the Burj is the best thing about living here. Like, it's just the life that you live here and the whole lifestyle, and just overall happiness of living here, of seeing sun every day and getting up and being around people who are really motivated and really happy all the time. And I noticed that hugely when I just visited home, is everyone was miserable and everyone was negative. And like recruitment companies back home in general, everyone's like, I hate my boss, I hate this, and targets are too high, and it's just filled with negativity. And then you come here and it's filled with positivity. Yeah. Like, that's my favorite thing about Dubai, is that everyone is so happy all the time. You walk into a shop, there's like 5 people that say hi to you, or like, you know, you walk by someone and you smile, and, you know, it's just like them little things that just really make your day overall a lot more positive.
Yeah. So what would you say your like typical week would look like in Dubai, to give people the idea of what they can expect? Because obviously Monday to Friday you're obviously at work. Do you do anything in the evenings, or do you just normally just sit at home with the cat, watch TV?
Some evenings I do that, to be fair, but then when I need to get out of the house, there's so much to do. There's so much to do. Like, you could be doing a different thing every day. We've gone to yoga classes in like amazing studios that are relaxing, and if I have a stressful day, I'll go do something like that. If I, you know, have a bit more energy in the evening, I'm currently training for a half marathon, so I run, or I'll go to the gym, or I'll go for a swim. And there's something so amazing about like living in a building where I just go to my rooftop and I'm like, I'm gonna go to the gym, and then I'm gonna hop in the pool and just go for a swim. I'm gonna watch the sunset from my pool, like,
which apparently you can see the Burj from.
I can see the Burj from it now. I didn't know. But yeah, like, you can go play paddle quite a lot. We're playing paddle tomorrow after work.
Oh my God, yeah, we are.
Yeah, so like there is a lot. Like, if you're bored in Dubai, there's something wrong. Like, there's something wrong. Yeah, you can't be bored in Dubai. There's limitless amount of things to do. Class pass, get on there, book some classes, book some stretching classes. There's something for everyone. And then through doing what you enjoy, like, I joined gymnastics. Like, how often is it that an adult goes and just joins gymnastics? I would never have done that at home. So it's just like, there's no judgment here as well. Like, you do whatever you enjoy, like whatever you're comfortable with, whatever you want. When it comes to meeting people as well, that's where you're going to meet the people that you have really good friendships and connections with in Dubai. Like, go to a yoga class. If you really enjoy yoga, you'll meet someone that also really enjoys yoga at that class, and then you'll end up being friends with them. It's just such an easy place to find new activities and new things to do, and friendships out of that too.
Yeah. How have you found meeting people here in Dubai? Because you guys knew a few people out
We knew
here.
a few people, and to be fair, they were really, really good in getting us settled. Like, the minute we landed, it was like, make sure you do this, like, make sure you get your phone SIM, pay up front for a year, like, make sure you download these apps, and make sure you do this. And, you know, like, even before we went, to be fair, we had a friend in real estate that was like, avoid these areas to live, avoid this you know, development in case it floods, or, you know, like little things like that. So we were really good in having people to ask them silly questions too, and they're so important to ask. So I've found it quite good, to be fair. I got on Facebook pages, as embarrassing as it was, and I was like, hey, I'm new to Dubai. Like, is anyone else new to Dubai? And I met 5 girls the first week that I came, 3 days after I came, who had also flown on the same day or same week as me. We're still friends now. So it's reaching out, and it's being confident enough to know that, okay, like I need to put myself out there. And like myself and my partner had kind of said, like, we're just going to say yes for the first, well, what it was a year, but that didn't last too long, because now I'm like, please, I don't want any more plans. But yeah, we were kind of like, let's just say yes. Like, I think the amazing thing about moving to a new place is that you get to completely choose everything about your life. You get to choose your work. Well, some people don't, but you get to choose your work. You get to choose what you want to do. You get to choose your friends. You get to choose your activities. You get to choose your apartment. Like, it is a clean slate. And that's what I've loved about moving over here, is like, if someone's not floating your boat, if someone's not your vibe, okay, let's move on. Like, I don't have time for that anymore. I enjoy Dubai too much for anything to kind of bring me down, or, you know, like, if you're not enjoying an activity, don't go again. Yeah. Like, it's just such an easy place to like build your own life from scratch.
Yeah, 100%. And how have you found Recruitment? So obviously you made a switch from recruiting for finance, which I've done myself as well, to recruiting for recruiters, which is a completely different situation.
When I tell people I'm a rec-direct, they're like, you recruit recruiters? I'm like, yeah, it's a really important job.
Inception, recruitment inception is hilarious.
It's wildly, wildly different from finance recruitment, and in the best way. I mean, I can't say that I was overly excited every day about talking to accountants or financial analysts or finance managers or CFOs. Like, I don't understand anything about what they do, so I couldn't really have my own input, and I'd say because of that, I didn't really feel like I could like connect to them and actually be like a support and a help. Whereas now with Rec to Rec, I'm having these same conversations that you had with me nearly a year ago now.
Making people cry.
I hope I haven't made anyone cry, but going back to that, like, I've had that same conversation that you had with me multiple times with multiple different candidates, because I'm very much, and I know you feel the same way, is that we take a lot of responsibility when we're relocating someone to Dubai. You need to be ready for the opportunity. And like, I kind of say to people at the end of the phone call as well, when I've had that hard conversation like you had with me, if I've scared you off, or if I've annoyed you, or if I've made you upset, you're only going to go one of two ways. You're going to say, like I did, I was like, no, I'm going to get to Dubai. Like, I'm going to get a job. I'm determined. Like, it's going to happen for me. Or you're going to say, maybe I'll leave it. And if you're saying maybe I'll leave it, you're not ready to come to Dubai.
Yeah, because it's the kind of place where you really are on your own. Like, most people don't have any family here. You don't have, like, no one's here to like look out for you. You really are on your own. If something happens to you, like, yeah, you've got your friends, but you've met them 6 months ago.
Oh yeah. Like, and they're not your family at the end of the day. They don't really owe you anything.
Your family are so far away. So it's people come to a realization here, and it's tough for some people when, you know, when your job's not working out very well, or you're just not doing well, because it is a tough market here. And sometimes people do need to make these tough decisions to go back, and it's really expensive to move here. Even if your company offers you a good relocation package, the best relocation package you'll get is a flight and a month in a hotel, which shouldn't impact your decision of making it kind of accepting a role at all anyway, because it's a flight and a hotel, you need somewhere to live anyway. But, you know, apart from that, even if you get that, it's still very expensive to move here. When you sign a lease for an apartment, you have to put down, you know, 5-10% deposit if it's furnished. You have to put down deposit for your electricity and water, your gas. You pay for your phone up front, because if you pay monthly, you end up spending so much more money.
Your car,
deposits all the time, everywhere.
I'm so glad I'm finished with deposits.
You get them back, but like the upfront cost
is a lot.
You know, furniture is quite affordable here actually, and things like home appliances and stuff like that. So like, I got an unfurnished apartment, but like, when you see your bank account at the end of the month, you're like, oh my God, like, where did all this money go? Yeah, it's ridiculous. You kind of bounce back after a month or two, like, you forget about it, and you've got a beautiful apartment, but it's a lot for people. So like if someone doesn't have enough savings, like we say to have at least £5,000, and that will not be enough to cover all these deposits. That would be a situation where maybe you're house sharing.
Yeah.
Maybe you're living in, you know, with a few
getting
different
a furnished
people,
apartment,
getting like a short-term accommodation whilst you're kind of working, and just to catch up with yourself, because you might not be able to pay rent 3 months up front or 6 months up front. So, and then you end up spending more money if you're doing all these short-term things as well. So it's tough in Dubai. Like, so we say 10,000 ideally for someone to be like comfortable. If you more, no, you can do it with 10,000.
No, you can't do it with 10,000.
I've got a friend who moved here in debt and she's fine, but wouldn't recommend it.
No. I mean, it's difficult. This is why I kind of say you have to be really bought into coming to Dubai. You have to really see like the long-term gains, and I think that's plug of Unfiltered Rec. Our probably selling point is that we don't work with these big agencies where you just come over and you're just another number on the board, or you can kind of sink into the darkness. If you want to come to Dubai and just earn your wage and just basically live month to month or paycheck to paycheck and enjoy the life of Dubai, of going to the beach clubs and everything, which we all do and we all enjoy it. But if that's what you want to do, then you're going to one of them bigger agencies where you can just kind of fade into the darkness in the background and be average and kind of earn your money, and that's fine. But I think what myself and my partner, when we moved over, we weren't looking at like just short-term Dubai. We were looking at earning a lot of money. We were looking at buying a property potentially, whether that be in Ireland back home or whether that be here. We were looking at buying cars, you know, like we were looking at really setting down roots here and actually seeing the long-term gains of working with a great commission structure. And commission structure is huge out here. You need to have a strong one, and it's because the salaries are low.
Well, the commission's tax-free, so like the commission,
everything's tax-free,
than the salary anyway in recruitment in general.
Yeah.
So what would you say about the salaries out here? What can people expect, especially when they're relocating?
They're lower than what you would expect for Dubai. I think when I first had a conversation, I had a conversation with a rec-to-rec who was based in the UK probably a year prior to me actually moving to Dubai. And he was kind of saying, yeah, you'll get a really big jump. Like, you know, like I was on 30k euros and he was like, you'll get 40k, like you'll be rich. And I was like, tax-free? That's amazing. Like unreal. And then I got on the phone call to you, and this is probably another reason why I cried. You were like, yeah, no, that's not the case. But that rec-to-rec was in the UK and didn't know anything about the Dubai market really. So I would say to not be expecting a huge pay jump. Don't be expecting to come over and buy designer stuff and drive supercars around in your first year probably, or 2 years or 3, but depending on what you want to do. But yeah, don't be expecting to come over here and just kind of be rich straight off the bat. You need to almost have a setback in order to like launch yourself forward and like really create the career that you want, I think.
Yeah. I mean, thing is, no one takes like a real pay cut in terms of like looking at people's salary after tax.
Yeah, no one takes.
We've had no one take a pay cut, really. Pay cut. But usually you'll kind of move on a similar salary, or if your salary is a bit higher in the UK then or Ireland, you'll probably move on a salary that maybe is kind of what your salary was after tax.
After tax, yeah.
But looking at Ryan, your boyfriend, he's done obviously incredibly well here. He's like the top biller at his company, doing really, really well. So it's like, you know, and he's got a great commission scheme.
And he left quite a big buck as well. Like he had to walk away from a lot of money at home because I wanted to move to Dubai. But like he's got that back now tenfold, 9 months later. So it is a small setback for potentially huge rewards and huge returns down the line. So,
and it's just the kind of the quality of life that you have here, like it's so much better. Like think about how much you know, your apartment would cost you in Dublin when it's brand new with a pool, with the gym.
I don't even want to think about it.
It's massive as well. Like you wouldn't even find a place like this probably, no. First of all. But, you know, these things, and they're affordable. If you're splitting it with someone like you and Ryan, like you're fine. Yeah. Versus, you know,
it's
renting.
Just an elevated quality of
like
life.
One of my
here.
Favorite things to do whenever I like maybe miss home a little bit or miss my friends, I'll just go on Rightmove and look at apartments for rent in London.
And you're sorted.
Shock horror. And I'm like, no, actually I don't even want to go back on holiday.
I know. I just don't even bother, because to be fair, when we were at home, buying a house, moving out just seemed so far away because of how bad the situation was in Ireland at the time. So moving over here now, and actually, like, there's been so many times where we're in the pool on our rooftop overlooking. You can see downtown, you can see the Burj Al Arab from our pool, you can see the whole of the marina, JLT.
God,
I know, you need to come. But we just sit there and we're like, we could never have even thought that this was possible. Like, when you compare our lives and what they were a year ago to what they are now, like, wildly different.
Let's compare. Go on.
Oh God. Dreary, dark days. First of all, a lot of rain. I've not seen rain since April. Well, since I went home, but here since April. Going in and out of work, doing the 9 to 5. I was getting up in the morning and genuinely feeling like, how do I get out of going to work today? Like, so unenjoyable. Going into constant KPIs, constant targets. I know that that's still a thing in recruitment companies, but I think smaller business owners kind of understand that, you know, that's people need to be managed differently in recruitment, whereas my company was just managed as a whole the same way.
I think women need to be managed differently in recruitment to men.
I do think so. And I think that's what most smaller business owners over here will manage people how they need to be managed, and will really get to know the way that they work in order for them to do well. And that's like, you, for example, with me, kind of know that, like, you don't need to be like a manager. You just kind of, we keep each other on track. We ask each other for advice every day. It's more of a collaborative space, which means that we genuinely enjoy working together. Genuinely enjoy going through processes. Like, if you get an offer, you're like, how do I give this? And, you know, the fact that you come to me sometimes and say, like, what do you think I should do about this? Like, that makes me feel really involved. Whereas I wouldn't get that say in a bigger company. I wouldn't have that kind of authority around my work and what I do, which does make me really enjoy it. And I can kind of, I suppose, be my own manager with your help rather than you just managing me all the time.
Well, yeah. I don't see the point of hiring someone and kind of telling them what to do all day, every day.
Good.
Like, I'm not paying you a salary to then micromanage you.
Yeah.
And like watch
and it's not fun for you either.
And kind of like what I've seen, you know, in businesses in the past, that, you know, you'd be on the call and then your manager would be sat next to you, say this, say that.
Yes.
Like whispering in your ear, and like, you're like, can I just focus, please? Like, luckily, I've never been through that. I remember in my first recruitment job, we used to have landlines, and you could plug in an extra, like,
that would make me so anxious. I know I do most of my calls on speakerphone with you, but it's not the same.
We don't care. But yeah, so like we used to do that, and then someone would listen into my calls, or I would listen in on their calls, and then, oh, what did you think of this? And you like debrief after, which call listening is good, but like I don't need to do that with you because you're a recruiter. Like, Rachel has never missed a piece of information on the call. Whereas like when I was doing finance recruitment myself, like there was always something.
Oh, absolutely. Like, but I think that's the difference with finance and
rec. Have they done management accounts? I was like, sure.
I don't know what that means.
Sure they have. I actually do. I got a 95 on my management accounts exam at uni. Excuse me. And you've had understanding of what you were doing as well, because you worked as an accountant, kind of.
Yeah. Well, nearly, but yeah.
But so just to kind of wrap up then, what would you say to people who want to move to Dubai, apart from get in touch with us? Would you say it's worth it? Would you say it's good? What type of person do they need to be?
100% worth it. If you're thinking about it, do it, is my advice, and do it sooner rather than later, because it's just getting more and more competitive over here. So you want to come, and you have the money behind you, especially, then just do it. I would say you need to be a confident person. You need to be able to back yourself. You need to be highly, highly, highly motivated to come to Dubai. The people that are unmotivated, negative, get wheedled out of Dubai very, very quickly.
No one wants to be around that.
No one wants to be around that. And it's very, very obvious from the offset who's the negative people and who's not, and who's really here for Dubai to get the most out of Dubai. Dubai can give you so much if you really just put the time in. And if you're thinking now, I'm in such a good spot, I'm earning so much, my commission's great, whatever, but I have this niggle to go to Dubai, leave it now. Like, you will make that money back tenfold in a year, 2 years time. You just need to cut the ties and actually take the risk. And your life will be so much better.
And what would you say to people who think this is all beach clubs and nightclubs and parties and drinking?
You are very wrong.
Well, you know, people live like that, but
there is that side of Dubai, don't get me wrong. And sometimes, like us at Nobu, like we do want to live that life and we do want to have a day of feeling like, ooh, we're bougie today. But that's not...
you have to earn that,
Yeah, you do have to earn that. And it's not everyday life. And to be honest, I don't want it to be either. I actually was pleasantly surprised with Dubai and the fact that it's not this influencer world. There's not, you know, famous people walking around everywhere you go. There's no supercars unless you're really going to like the Ritz or, you know, you're sitting outside Atlantis the Royal. Like people are just living a normal life here, but they're living their best normal life.
Yeah.
You know, they're living the life that's still elevated from where they came from, but they're not like so far up here that they can't really see anything else, which I always thought Dubai was. Still wanted to come, don't get me wrong, but there's parts of Dubai where you can live that life, and then other parts where it is just normal life. I go home to my cat, I watch Netflix, I have dinner with my boyfriend, and rinse and repeat the next day. There are normal days.
Yeah, mostly normal days, let's be honest. But yeah, I was exactly the same when I came here last May on a holiday, because I did want to come, and it coincided with my best friend's birthday anyway, so we came. And
yeah, you did the smart thing.
We got here and we were like, where are these Ferraris?
Yeah.
Like, where are they? But we found them, don't worry.
No, they're still here. They're still here.
But like, you see a G-Wagon on the road or something like this, where like in the UK, it's just like, oh my God, whose car is this? And then here, you don't even think about it.
Because you're not really in them areas, unless you live like, I don't know, in the middle of the Palm or right beside the Burj or, you know, right on the marina, which most people don't live if they actually live in Dubai. You're not seeing that life, and like the people that you surround yourself with as well are also not living that life. Majority of my friends are Irish. They're, you know, a lot of them are recruiters, to be honest. I've made friends with some of my candidates.
Yeah, Rachel's infiltrating all the recruitment agencies with Irish people. She's been very, very successful.
I've been really successful so far. I've made so many friends through being, you know, placing them and them being my candidates, which I love about Rec to Rec, because it's just so relatable. That was the position that I was in a year ago. That was the conversation you had with me a year ago, and now I'm having that conversation. You just get so much more out of them calls when people move over. You know, like the most recent boy that I placed moved over. He works in our office and we're friends. We went out with him on the weekend. He plays football with my boyfriend. It's just, this is like, I love that he's now loving Dubai, and I've seen that transition that I made, and that's what I love about Rec to Rec compared to
relocating people is just so rewarding.
It's so rewarding. I love it.
But yeah, sometimes candidates ask me to literally yesterday I had this conversation. She was just like, oh, what about this business? And I was like, look, I can send you there, but I was like, I take no responsibility for your experience working there. So I was like,
you'll be back to me in 6 months' time.
Do these processes that you're in now, and then just leave them. And then, okay, fine. Like, if you get desperate, but I was like, look, you are going to hate it. I was like, there's pure honesty with us. Yeah. There's businesses here that are fantastic, and there's businesses here that are not so great. They still offer something to people, but like a salary and a stable job, and sometimes, you know, overly inflated salary because they know they don't offer anything else.
Yeah.
And
they compensate.
They basically overcompensate for the environment. But I'm just like, look, I take no responsibility for your experience there. I was like, I'm giving you the lowdown. If you just want to get to Dubai, fine. But just, this is probably what your experience is going to look like, because I spoke to an X amount of people working there. So it's an interesting world working in Dubai, is definitely what I say. There's some absolute scammers out here in terms of companies. Not so much in recruitment, there's a few, but definitely outside of recruitment. So for people who are recruiters who are struggling to find a job, my advice would be to wait, get your billings up, wait a year, just work really, really hard. I know it seems counterproductive to work super hard and then leave a job, but that will put you in a much, much better position here in Dubai. Work in a desirable market like energy, tech, financial services, not accounting and finance.
Not accounting and finance, get out.
Financial services, or like, you know, product, digital, maybe even sales and marketing. Do really, really well, build £200,000, and then you'll find a job and you'll do really, really well, and you won't have a stressful experience here, because you don't want to move someone knowing that it might not work out very well. You don't want to spend all this money. You don't want to spend all your time packing up your life, selling everything or getting rid of things.
Because it is a lot. You're coming halfway across the world.
I've had, because I was moving out of London.
Yeah.
I had to get rid of everything. The amount of rubbish. And then I packed everything in like a few boxes and a few suitcases and just came over here. Like all these things, like I would have kept them if I was still there. So like you don't want to just completely uproot your life for a bad opportunity. So.
And I think it can be really easy to just kind of tap out of work when you know you're moving to Dubai as well.
That's the first mistake people do.
And I did it, to be honest with you. I did it. I knew I was coming to Rec, so I knew it was completely different. But it's just an automatic thing of like your brain switches off and you're like, what's the point? Because I'm moving to Dubai.
And then they made you work your notice.
And then they made me work my notice. But anyway, it is quite easy to just clock off.
Yeah.
Whereas I literally had this conversation with a candidate yesterday and they were like, do you reckon I just move over to Dubai and live or work out my 30 days holiday visa and try and find a job in that time? And I'm like, no. You're putting so much pressure on yourself. You will end up taking one of these
real estate jobs,
terrible jobs that won't give you a visa, won't give you healthcare, will kind of, sell you the dream, and then you start it and it's not working out. Stay, make as much money as you can, and then in the long run, Dubai will be the best option for you.
It's like, just wait a year. Like it's not the end of the world. Like you've waited 3 years. I've thought about it.
It's still annoying, don't get me wrong, but it's worth it in the end.
But at least you're working towards something and you're doing the right thing. Whereas like the stress is just not worth it, I think. People have done it. Like I had friends who have done it and it's worked out, but it's been a very, like one of my friends that I have in mind at the moment started out in real estate, like had a job offer, turns out to be a scam. Then she was like, oh, whatever, I need a visa. Okay, let me just do real estate.
And they take anything.
Typical.
Yeah.
Did okay, but just didn't like the lack of salary, lack of any kind of stability. You don't know what you're going to get paid. And then, she changed her job. And then she changed her job again. So it's like, oh, you've done like 3 jobs in a year. And she finally got a good salary. She finally got a good apartment and everything. But it took her over a year to get there. And it's just been a stressful year of like, you think you're moving over here and you're going to be doing all these fun things and going out and all that. But then, you're worried about putting food on the table at some point, or you get yourself in debt.
And at that point, you're like, I'm not moving back to the UK, or I'm not moving back to Ireland, because you're so bought into Dubai life. So you just kind of take anything to keep you going.
Yeah.
And then you realize, I'm just in a ball of stress, and it can spiral so quickly.
Yeah.
And there are, like, I would say 60% of the companies out here are probably not great, which I think is why Unfiltered Rec is so good to work with, because we could work with them companies and we could make
money,
however many extra dirhams in the month, but we don't, because we would never want to put anyone in that position.
No,
and we have had candidates that have come back to us and said, I made a mistake, because we may have warned them about it. Or I know you've had many of these conversations where your candidates come back and say, I've really made a mistake, and you're going, I kind of told you so.
Or it comes up back to multiple offers. Someone will have an offer through me for a good company that I know is good, and then maybe an extra 1,000 or 2,000 dirhams a month with a different company, not through me.
And then 2 months later,
oh, Martina, I've made a mistake. And then I'm just like, I told you.
Yeah.
Like, just trust me. I genuinely believe everyone would live a much better life if they just listened to me. That includes my friends, my family, my candidates. We do know best. A lot of the times I know best. And listen, like I will, if I speak to a candidate and they're interviewing through an agency, through someone else or directly, I will give them my honest opinion about that agency. Yeah. If they're good, like I've got my favorites in Dubai, and sometimes, someone might have a friend and I'm like, that is the best agency out here. Like if you get an offer, grab it with both hands. Don't care about the salary. They might not give you like an X amount, but it's the best place for you to work. But they don't fucking listen.
Yeah. You can drag someone to the water and you can't make them drink it. Is that an Irish thing?
Probably. Anyway, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us. It was lovely to have you on the podcast.
Anytime.